Hello, everyone. Welcome back inside the film room. I'm Zach Goins, and today I am joined by Jessica Williams, who plays everyone's favorite therapist on Apple's new TV show, Shrinking. She plays Gabby. Jessica, welcome to the show. How are you?
You. I appreciate it. I'm good. Everyone's favorite therapist, that's saying something, but I feel
It's,
like
it's a lot of
if
competition
Jason or
out
Harrison
there.
come on, what'd you say?
It's a lot of competition out there with
I know if
your
Jason and Harrison
coworkers.
come on, I know I'm going to watch this and you're going to say everyone's favorite therapist, Harrison Ford.
No, it's reserved. It's a title reserved for you because Gabby
I
is,
appreciate it.
candidly speaking, a favorite of mine, a fan favorite. So we'll get into that in
Oh,
a minute. But first and foremost, I just want to say, what a show. We just wrapped up season one. Congratulations on a fantastic show. I love it so much. It's
thank
very
you.
dear to me already. You've got season
Good.
two on the way. What a way to
Thank
start
you.
2023. How has it been over the last couple months?
Oh my goodness. Well, we finished the show a long time ago, like I think in August of 2022, and I think they wanted to wait because it's the same production company as Ted Lasso, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of Lasso people involved. Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent on that show, and they wanted to time it to, I think, kind of Lasso and the new year. So we kind of sat on it for about 5 or 6 months. And meanwhile, in the back of my head, I'm knowing we've got Gabby. I'm knowing about that I'm at some point singing every morning with Harrison Ford in a
Mhm.
car, like, and that was coming, like 7 months from now. And so I sort of forgot about it, had to put it on the shelf, worked on another project. And the last couple of months since it's been on has been really amazing. I think at the beginning of the season, I played this character, Gabby. And at the beginning of the season, you don't really kind of see her as much. And then she just grows and grows and grows
Mhm.
to the end of the season. And it's just been really great. Like a lot of people really love the show, and a lot of people really love Gabby, and they like Gabby's relationships, more importantly, with other people, which I think is such a big part of the show. And I think
Definitely.
it's such a big part of what like Bill Lawrence and Jason Segel and Brett Goldstein wanted to create was these messy relationships and how these people mix and match with each other and just trying to figure out how to get by.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabby, it's you hit the nail on the head with these relationships because every single character is not just like this own isolated character who it is just Gabby, but instead Gabby has a relationship with Liz, with Alice, with Jimmy, with Paul. Like every single character has some sort of crossover. There's a big
Yeah.
web. And Gabby specifically is unique because you, Jessica, and Gabby, the character, are just like this absolute ray of sunshine that
Oh,
is
thank
bringing the
you.
positive energy versus, a surly Paul or kind of Jimmy
He's
who's just
definitely a
like a mess
downer.
all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They're, yeah.
how much of that is, obviously the vibes are good right here. How much of that is just you being you, and how much of that is getting into the character of Gabby?
Yeah. Well, initially, when I signed on for the show, they didn't really know anything really about Gabby. I think they knew they wanted her to really balance out Paul and Jimmy's character.
Mhm.
And, Jimmy is going through this really traumatic grief. So he's, playing this certain note in this colorful world in this kind of zone, but definitely a particular zone. And Paul is also mourning and in grief. He's grieving the relationship with his daughter. He's grieving, physically, coming to terms with having Parkinson's and his diagnoses and stuff like that. And so Gabby, I think, was someone that we needed to kind of have be up in the office. And so I knew that about her. I knew some big story arcs things were coming. Like I knew her and Jimmy slept together. I
Mhm.
knew that she was going through a divorce. Like we knew those things going in, like when I signed up. And but what was cool about Gabby was that they really wanted to cater her to the actress that played her. And
Okay.
so, I met and had a really long Zoom call with them. And then I think they met with a few other actresses and they offered me the part like maybe like right after that. And they were really big on me being able to improvise on set because they kind of
Oh, yeah.
understood the background I was coming from. I used to be on the Daily Show. I did a podcast called Two Dope Queens for a long
You're
time.
stealing my
Uh,
next question here, Jessica.
I'm just trying to help. Like it's just better if I just help, and especially coming from the Daily Show or podcasting, it's like, yeah, I know how we're gonna get into it. We should just get into it.
I appreciate
Um,
it.
and I did that for a long time. And what was great is that with Bill and Brett and Jason, they sort of um really like were like, we want you to just go. And
Mhm.
one of the first things I improvised for my first scene, I got COVID when we first started, and so I had a couple of weeks off until I recovered and they started shooting. And one of my first scenes is when Jason Segel's character Jimmy tells Gabby, me, that he took Sean, the character, out to fight, and for as part of the therapy. And one of the things I improvised was, you took a young Black man out to fight people in this cultural atmosphere. And, after that take, they were laughing and they were like, that's great. We want you to add stuff like that. And
You had free reign at that point to just
totally. And so I was free to make like any woman jokes, vagina jokes, Black jokes. I got to say you up energy to Harrison Ford. Like it just, the writers were writing the show as we were doing it. And so they were responding to me and I was responding to what they wrote. And so it became this really cool collaborative process. And then I think halfway through, you really get a sense of who Gabby is.
yeah.
It's tough doing a new show, trying to figure out who people are. That's the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's very evident as a viewer that what you're saying makes total sense about them building this character around you, because there is so much interconnectivity between you as a person and then you as the character, as Gabby as the character. I know you mentioned all of the like the balancing out, the positivity, all of that, but at the same time, the divorce, yes,
Yeah.
you've just
Yeah.
lost your best friend.
Mhm.
So yes, she's positive, she's bubbly, but she's also very much going through it. And is that what would you like within your character study of Gabby? What is it about her that allows her to process these things much better than, a Jimmy or a Paul who's not very productive in the way they process their feelings?
Yeah, I hope, thank you for asking. I hope that in the next season we explore Gabby and Tia, who's Jimmy's wife, who passes away, their relationship a little bit more and what it was. But I think Gabby is very much a caretaker. And I think you can kind of see that in terms of the office of like, trying to get Paul to drink water. That'll help for his Parkinson's, always kind of being there for Jimmy. Like it really bothers her to see people around her not be okay. And I think that speaks to a lot of times what we can do as women, or especially women of color, in that, a lot of people, sometimes it seems culturally, are allowed to feel, their emotions, but a lot of times as women or people of color, we are supposed to kind of hold it and kind of carry on and keep it moving. And I think Gabby is a really tender exploration of that. And one of the reasons why I was so excited to do the show is, so I was a fan of Bill Lawrence because I really loved Scrubs. I love Scrubs growing up, and Scrubs was a really great show that was so funny, but also really tender. Things happen. Hashtag, Brendan Fraser and that, whole friggin' arc that he had in Scrubs. And, I was really excited to explore the tone of comedy and drama. And I think that's like a really good wheelhouse for me. And so with Gabby, I really get to explore that. She can be very funny, but also I think Gabby has a really, somewhere deep down, a really strong grounding where she can really just kind of do it all and really pivot. And I think that's why her relationships work with different people in the show really well. Even doing scenes with Krista Miller, who plays Liz, or Michael, like I think she's very dynamic and can really fit and meet people where they are. And that just speaks to Gabby as a character.
Yeah, I mean, the show as a whole, from Scrubs to Lasso to this, like Bill Lawrence's shows always have that, emotional weight to it, rather than just the zingers. It's not just one-liners. And the balance of this show between the heavy and the lighthearted, and the characters themselves have great balance. Specifically, you, Jimmy, and Paul, and then even more specifically, Paul and Gabby and their relationship. I love their dynamic here as we see it grow. The caregiver almost, but then I'm curious, when you're shooting with Harrison Ford, like obviously he has, the character himself is surly, but then where does the line end between like Paul and Harrison Ford as an intimidating figure? How is that working with him on set?
Oh, it's great. That really works for me. Like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out in 1989, which is the year I was born. So I've known about him, like like our entire lives. And what's great is that I let that inform Gabby and Paul's relationship. He's, this this important figure in the world of therapy is Paul
Right.
is, not Harrison Ford. Yeah, not Harrison. But he is this important figure. And so I let sort of who Harrison is in our business, I let that sort of inform the dynamic between, you know, Paul and Gabby. Like, she's never going to say anything super disrespectful, but she is going to push the line and say, don't hit me with the you up energy, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, he does tell her, like, there's this scene where when I got to shoot it with him and Wendy, where she plays Dr. Barham, and I walk into his house and find out that they've been sleeping together. And so I get
The
to play.
reaction is amazing.
I get to do that, but that was a really fun scene to do. But there are points where in that, even though he's uncomfortable, he still tells Gabby, go to the bathroom. And she's like, okay, I'm going to like go to the bathroom, because
Yeah.
he's still like this looming figure as Harrison Ford. But that being said, you know, in real life, he's a very giving person. He wears cute clothes. Like, he'll wear like a polo with like boats on it. Like, he likes flying and bird watching. Like, it's super cute. And
I heard the fedora that he wears. I heard that he
yeah,
actually wore
this
that to
like
set one
cursed
day, and they were like,
fedora. He wears this totally cursed like white fedora that, you know, is very funny, that sweet Lukita gets to make fun of. But it's definitely cursed. That I'm glad I never got to see him in that during any scene, because Gabby definitely would have said something. But
we
you know,
missed
they
some
have a
serious
really
improv there.
yeah. Oh yeah, I would have just gone with that. But yeah, he's just a really good actor, and he's a really giving and professional actor. And there was some times where he would just do these takes, and I would just look at him and go, holy smokes. Like, it would be Indiana Jones and Han Solo, and like everything rolled into one. And you would just,
Right.
it was like watching a beautiful sunrise, where you're just like, oh, you're a movie star, because you could just see it in certain takes that he did. It was really, I feel so lucky that I got to watch him work up close.
Yeah, it's great seeing him embrace the comedic side, because he's obviously very
Yes, he's a
talented
funny
there as
dude.
well.
Yeah.
But talking about the comedy, you've mentioned some of your moments here, you know, walking in on him and Wendy, and then the car scene singing, of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is there one? I'm curious. I was going to ask you about the walking in on him, because you mentioned the improv earlier. Was there any improv there? And what, in general, what was is there a moment that you were like, wow, outside of the moment with Sean that you mentioned with Luke, was there one that you were like, okay, it turned into a great moment in the show that was completely improvised? I'm sure there were plenty, but one that sticks out.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that whole scene, I just watched it. I got to see it because it came out last week or
Right.
the week last. And I'm so lucky that just exists now, and it exists forever, is me looking at Harrison doing this. But Neil, who's the head writer of the show, he had been talking to me once, and I explained that when I'm shocked, I like to go like this.
The Home Alone
And
face.
so that was the biggest thing. He never gives notes or has any requests, but Neil's biggest request was in that scene that I get to go. And they wrote it like that. So I got to do that, but then so much of it is improvised. And then Bill Lawrence came down to set and was like, oh, the wall, like, I want you to use the wall. And so then I thought, oh, this is like a puppet show then. And here are the things I think is funny when you play with puppets. If you keep moving while there's a wall and it disappears, I think that's what's fun. And then when you watch the Muppets or something like that, it's really funny when the Muppets have their head to the side and they move past the wall. There's something really funny about that. And so I got to add all those scenes, but all that was improvised. And Congratulations was like a lot of it was improvised. And I don't remember what was written versus what I said. But I know it was so fun to be able to have fun with the wall, and that there's just a lot that goes right in that scene. And I'm really like grateful that with this on the set between Jason and Brett and Bill Lawrence, I had the permission to go and just do and be, because there's not a lot of sets are like that. They want the actors a specific way, which is fine and works for certain things. But with this one, I was very much trusted comedically and as an actor, and that felt really good. And so I think that's what you're seeing in that is a lot of yeses and support, and then just me kind of going for it, which is really fun.
And it obviously worked out tremendously. The finished product is Fantastic.
It
That's
is pretty
something-
chill. Yes, it did. It did.
Final question here. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know that just today on Apple TV's Instagram, they released Gabby's playlist.
Yeah.
But one of the best moments of the show is the 15-minute rule, where everybody has 15 minutes to grieve. They put on a sad song, whatever they want. What we obviously your happy songs in the car, and we know you have some teen angst buried under there on your playlist.
Oh, yeah.
What is not Gabby's? What is Jessica Williams' 15-minute song if you had to pick one?
15 minutes. Oh,
just let it all out.
Oh my God. Definitely probably some Rilo Kiley. Where I'm just like letting it all out, where I just want to go there. I had hold on, I'm thinking. Let me think for a second.
Pressure.
A boyfriend of mine passed away a few years ago, and it was really upsetting and traumatizing. But now there's a lot of stuff that I associate with him that just, if I just want to go there, I can play it and I'll just bawl and bawl and bawl and cry. And I think it was a lot of music that he listened to. So because he used to make all these playlists, and one is Going to California by Led Zeppelin, probably.
Okay.
So that probably, but it's like anything that's like, I'm tender and juicy and just for like grief. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this show was, people are always grieving, there's so many different versions of it. And I had a really, really traumatic kind of grief experience a few years ago. And I took a break from acting for a while, for like a year, just to clear my thoughts. And I didn't really want to just do any project. And when I found out what shrinking was about, when I found out what it was about, it was something that I felt very therapeutically could help me kind of work through my stuff. It totally did. And you have to take it day by day with grief. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, was because I know a lot of people are going through that. And so I just wanted to put a little drop in that grief well for people to be able to kind of process it a little better and feel a bit more seen.
Well, I'm so glad that this show helped you out and work you through it. I know just from seeing the reaction to it all, it means a lot to a lot of different people in the ways that you're talking about. So I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing your time with us today. And
thank you, Zach. I appreciate it.
I'm excited.
I can't wait to talk to you after season 2.
Exactly. Season 2, season 3, everything to come. Once you're on that Emmy campaign, come back here. Don't worry.
I will. Thank you.